On August 15th, 1947, a subcontinent of nearly 400 million people woke up divided. A line drawn in 5 weeks by a British lawyer who had never set foot in India before, cut through villages, farms, and families that had shared land for centuries. That line created two nations. Within months, it would help displace over 10 million people and take the lives of hundreds of thousands more. Historians still argue over the true number. But it didn't have to happen this way. Tonight we ask, what if it hadn't? Why it actually happened. To understand the what if, we first need the why. British rule in India didn't create religious identity, but colonial administration hardened it. Separate electorates, introduced in 1909, meant Hindus and Muslims increasingly voted as blocs rather than as one electorate, deepening a political divide that would prove difficult to reverse. By the 1930s and 40s, the Indian National Congress, led by figures like Nehru and Gandhi, wanted a single independent India. The All India Muslim League, under Muhammad Ali Jinnah, grew convinced that Muslims, roughly a quarter of the population, would become a permanent political minority in a Hindu-majority democracy. In 1940, the League formally demanded a separate homeland, Pakistan. Negotiations to keep the country united, most notably the 1946 Cabinet Mission Plan, which proposed a loose federal India with strong provincial autonomy, collapsed. Trust between Congress and the League had eroded too far. When Direct Action Day in Calcutta in August 1946 exploded into communal violence, it convinced many on both sides that coexistence in one state was no longer safe. By 1947, with British finances exhausted after World War II and pressure mounting to leave quickly, Lord Mountbatten moved independence forward by nearly a year. Cyril Radcliffe was given weeks to draw the border. The result was rushed, chaotic, and, by nearly every historian's account, one of the deadliest mass migrations of the 20th century. So partition wasn't one cause. It was decades of colonial policy, genuine and growing political mistrust, competing visions of what a nation should be, and, at the very end, a British exit that left almost no time to do it carefully. The counterfactual, one nation. Now imagine the Cabinet Mission Plan it held. A federal India, one nation, many provinces, strong regional autonomy, minority protections written deep into the Constitution. What might that look like today? Economically, it's a compelling case. A united subcontinent would command a combined population approaching 2 billion, larger than China. Undivided, its industrial base, water systems, and rail network, built by the British as one connected grid, then severed overnight in 1947, would never have been split apart. The Indus River system, still a flashpoint between India and Pakistan today, would never have become a cross-border dispute at all. Militarily and diplomatically, the picture shifts too. 3 of today's nuclear-armed neighbors, India, Pakistan, and their fraught relationship, simply wouldn't exist as separate actors. Kashmir, the unresolved territorial dispute that has triggered multiple wars since 1947, would likely never have become a flashpoint in the same way. But, and this is where honest counterfactual history has to slow down, a united subcontinent wouldn't have been some automatic paradise. The same religious and political tensions that led to partition wouldn't have vanished the moment the ink dried on a federal constitution. Communal violence in 1946 was already happening before any border existed. A single India would still have had to govern immense religious, linguistic, and caste diversity, and would have faced real questions about how power was shared between a Hindu majority center and Muslim majority regions like Punjab and Bengal. Some historians argue a unified state might have fractured later, or seen chronic unrest, rather than one clean, catastrophic split. Others argue that with time and better designed federalism, it could have held. Nobody can know for certain. That's the nature of a counterfactual. What we can say is this: the manner of partition, its speed, its lack of preparation, is largely agreed to be the greater tragedy, separate from the question of whether some form of separation was ever likely. The human weight. Whatever the alternate path, the real history is the one that happened. Estimates of the dead from 1947 range from roughly 200,000 to 2 million. The wide range itself a reminder of how much was never properly recorded. Between 10 and 20 million people crossed borders that hadn't existed the week before, leaving behind homes their families had lived in for generations. That's the part no counterfactual can undo. Close. History doesn't offer second drafts, but asking what if isn't about rewriting the past. It's about understanding, more clearly, what was actually lost and what was actually gained in the choices that were made. The subcontinent that exists today was built from that division. Whether a united one would have been stronger or simply divided differently is a question historians will keep debating. What's certain is this: the line drawn in 5 weeks in 1947 still shapes the lives of nearly 2 billion people. And that's a story worth understanding, not just imagining.